Welcome to the emerging and dynamic world of cider in the United States of America. While this book can steer you to great bottles, amazing orchards, and unforgettable experiences, it can also serve as your guide to the changing tides of this country, its farmers, fermenters, and imbibers. American cider is standing at the precipice of a new era, with contributions drawn from around the world to create a unique American chorus filled with voices big and small, established and rising, revolutionary and reactionary. When we embarked on this project, we were committed to outlining for cider drinkers of all experiences how cider and apples vary throughout the United States. We talked to growers, pomologists, cider makers, and orchardists from all over the country, and explored the historical significance of apples and cider throughout the nation's development. We believe that by sharing these differences, we can help the listener better understand the industry and become an informed cider drinker, provided with the knowledge and foundation to comprehend what has been a boom in apple growing, cider making, and cider drinking in the United States. American cider makers, along with cider makers around the globe, are adapting contemporary techniques from agriculture, brewing, winemaking, and marketing to breathe new life into this historic beverage. Cider, like wine, is not a monolith. It is a category with a diverse range of options that can satisfy nearly every drinker without compromise. With nearly 1,000 cider producers across America as of 2020, as well as a wide array of different styles and formats, the beverage can be intimidating to the newcomer. But it's important to remember that cider is about exploration, from the drinker who is willing to push their palate and expectations to the producer who betters their technique and understanding of their craft year after year. This budding collection of beverages is poised to build a unique and definitive American identity that is shaped by its community, history, and geography, as cider makers and consumers learn more about the potential of the land around them and the apples among us. Diane Flint, of the late Foggy Ridge Cider in Doug Spur, Virginia, was the first phone interview we conducted for the book. She is an advocate for Dan and his passionate work in New York City on, coincidentally, Orchard Street, at the since-closed cider bar Wassail. Flint's own passion and depth of knowledge, we thought, would be the perfect place to dive in. Flint, who is known within the cider community for her spirited opinions, was quick to caution us against the many tropes surrounding apple and cider cultures. In reflecting on what this project became, how it took its own course, we go back to that first phone call with her. "I'm not so sure there are any regional differences in the ciders," she said. "I think you need to be very careful about examining that idea." She was right. Throughout our research and interviews, we found more similarities than differences in the country's multitude of apple and cider cultures. The few differences we did find, climate, geography, and fermentation styles, were overshadowed by similar obstacles, pressures, and limitations deeply entwined with today's culture. Apple growers, orchardists, academic researchers, fermentation enthusiasts, industry giants, home growers, farmers, and pomologists all face a near-identical set of problems. Orchardists struggle with limited resources while trying to sell a valuable product at low prices. We learned that all anyone needs to be convinced of climate change is to talk to a farmer for 5 minutes. People want to make cider, but the fruit to make cider is not available because the people who need to grow the fruit do not have the information needed to plant the right apples because the people they need to do the research are tied up in bigger agriculture. In this country, agriculture, big and small, is built upon white supremacy and a legacy of exploitation, of both people and land. Despite cider being a comparatively inclusive industry, reverberations of this legacy remain. When people talk about cider, they often begin with American cider's glory days, when the drink was more American than apple pie and was drunk with abandon by urban merchants, landed gentry, and poor journeymen alike. This incomplete history focuses on the apple preferences of the aristocratic, educated, wealthy, and Christian white elites who became the nation's founding fathers. But little has been written about the country's regional cultures and farm systems, and contributions to apple growing and cider making from indigenous and slave communities have been all but forgotten. Apples and cider played an inestimable role in the creation of the United States beyond its privileged culture. This book merely scratches the surface, but in it we've made a concentrated effort to tell the history of the United States through the apple's lens. The where, why, and how of apple planting, who was growing them, and the motives of the federal government are vital pieces consistently missing from the puzzle.